This is the power supply out of a Fujitsu Siemens Esprimo P2540 desktop computer dating to about 2010. I got 3 of these computers out of the trash a while ago, and I'm going to give you up until now to spot the issue. And this guy is not doing very well. And indeed, I have tried the computers by just powering them on with a different power supply and they work just fine, whereas these power supplies appear to be entirely dead, all of them. The computers have obviously been used in the same place, in the same application for roughly the same amount of time, so I'm quite certain that this is going to be the issue with every single one of them. So let's just have a quick look at this power supply and then just fix it. So it's a Delta power supply rated 300 watts. If I look at the label, we have 15 amps on the 12 volt rail and whatever on the rest of them. So it's a very basic power supply, passive PFC, dual input cap. So this is going to be one of those crude dual voltage supplies, but it's either going to have a switch or going to be 230 volts only. Doesn't matter, I'm not going to put it anywhere else. All caps seem to be ATX branded, but I can only spot this one as being properly bad. This is relatively common for these kinds of Delta power supplies. I've seen it many times where we just have one of the kind of probably rectifier caps for the 5 volt standby there, which goes bad, which causes the power supply to get straight into tick mode when you try and power it on, and that's about it. So let's just have a quick measure around with the ever so infamous ESR meter that I can't tell you anything about, and we'll go from there. Alright, so let's just start by checking a couple of the output caps. So I'm not going to really read anything off the caps, just measure them and see if it looks good. 33 milliohms on those, that's fine. That's probably 12 volt output, or for the 5 volt output, or 3.3, either way. 2200, 6.3 volts. That is 60 milliohms. A bit higher than I'd like to see in a cap like that, but it's fine, it's not failed yet. Not to such an extent as to cause issues with the operation of the unit anyway. This is clearly another cap on the same rail. Similar impedance, bit of a dicky connection there, but yeah. Under 100 milliohms in general is fine in a thing like this. So let's now measure the obviously bad one. And it's a 2200 microfarad 10 volt, and bam. 200 milliohms, 650 microfarads. That one is a goner. And just for kicks, let's measure the primary cap. So they're 470 microfarads, 200 volt rated. That's 100 milliohms. That's actually very good for a cap like that. And the other one, they're obviously in series. Yeah, almost 200 milliohms, but that's just fine. In general, for this primary side caps, I like to see under an ohm, and I'm happy. So yeah, just gonna swap this guy out, and I think this guy is gonna live again. And if we look really closely down in there around the failed cap, we can notice a couple of things. First, the adhesive for the capacitors actually failed. That's not my doing. It's just failed over time and turned brittle. And another thing we can notice that this thing seems to have been running very hot. And we even have some decoloration of the PC board down there. So this particular area of the PCB obviously runs quite hot during normal operation, so it really is no wonder that this cap has failed. Although it is a bit of a cause for concern to see that choke running so hot. Granted, this could just be a choke in series with a capacitor, and with a bad cap there's going to be a lot of current running through that, so it could just be a symptom. And out she comes. Negative, facing the fan. So, not surprisingly, this is an ATX branded cap, 2200 microfarad, 10 volt. But alas, my 2200 microfarad cap box is a bit empty at the moment, so we're going to have to put in a junk box cap. Yeah, but this is a Chemicon KY cap. It measures perfectly within spec, and KYs they last forever, so this is going to be good. There we go. Have a note of this power supply, just looking at it from the underside. Soldering quality seems to be of pretty okay quality, pretty standard, although we have some manual touch-ups down here in the corner for the wiring, which look a bit ugly, but it's not bad. This is a quality power supply as far as PC power supplies go. There we have it. New cap installed. Polarity should be correct. So let's try and fire this thing up in the original computer and see if it makes a difference. Before we do though, let's just take one of the computers in its pretty much original form, complete with dust and all, and see what it does when we apply power. For all I know, it could turn on. Let's see. Ooh. It's not going to come on mic, but it's squealing at me. It's trying. And it's... Oh, would you look at that? It's trying to do something. Huh. Perhaps it's fixed itself. But yeah, that just goes to show that this is going to be an intermittent issue. This one has the obviously bad cap, and the sound that power supply is making isn't pretty. Right, I did notice that our idle power consumption was about 4 watts, so let's see if this does something to remedy that, as well as the squealing issue. No, we still have the same idle power consumption. Jesus! That startled me. We still have the same idle power consumption. Huh, perfect power factor. That's impressive. Let's see if it'll power up proper. And indeed it does. So the spec of the machine tends to be an Intel Pentium dual core E5200 2.5 GHz, the classic overclocking model, and 2 gigs of RAM and integrated graphics. So yeah, I'm just going to take and wipe the drive, put a new OS on it, and try and run some diagnostics on this machine. I think it's... I have had a quick look at the motherboard, and then at least one of these machines inside powered up with another power supply, and it worked absolutely flawlessly, so I'm not expecting any issues. Looking at the motherboard, it's got a fair amount of electrolytics, but they are OST brand, the Black Series, which tend to run very well in my experience. There are some bad OST caps, these are not those. And it has a solid caps for the CPU VRM module hidden underneath a big fan. So, with no further ado, let's just wrap this up, put the power supply back together, and give the computer a proper trial. And absolutely worth noting is we are entirely squeal free. I wonder where those 4 watts are going though. But since we're dealing with an unknown hard drive which didn't originally belong to us, first thing to do, boot and nuke. And while that computer's running some diagnostics, which it's been doing for well over 2 hours now, so it's looking quite good, I'm going to take the time to fix the other 2 power supplies that I have, because they all have the same issue. However, since I just had one 2200 10-volt cap, I'm going to check the voltage across it, because I suspect it's going to be 5 volts, and in that case I can make do with a quality 6.3 volt cap instead. Yep, 5 volts, so that's more than likely the 5 volt standby cap. So 6.3 volt cheap it is. And there we go, 2 more perfectly serviceable power supplies. I won't bore you with installation in the computers with these 2 though. And there we go, 3 perfectly serviceable computers. Perhaps not straight from the trash, but damn near close to it. So, thank you for watching, hope you learned something. Cheerio. Oh, and something I noticed on the one that I installed Windows on, The hard drive has been started a grand total of 38 times and has been paid on for, what's that, about 500 hours? So this thing has barely seen any use. Since the capacitor and the power supply was shot, we can pretty much deduce that this thing has pretty much just been sitting in standby for its entire life until the power supply failed, because that's almost no hours on the hard drive whatsoever. Nice.